What is up, guys? Dirk here. It is August 3rd, and this is the monthly update for the Bitcoin charts. So obviously the July candle has just closed. We're going to dive into the monthly chart for Bitcoin and Ethereum. I'm going to share with you my thoughts for what I think could lie ahead now for August and maybe even for September. So grab your favorite beverage and let's dive straight in. Now, just a quick reminder before we get started, the Bybit WSOT, the World Series of Trading, it is starting in just a couple of days on August 7th, and it runs till August 27th, I believe. So this is going to be a major trading competition. Anyone can enter, obviously, if you are in the non-restricted countries. Unfortunately, it's not for the US or Canada, but if you're in another country and you are eligible to participate, I would say come and join my squad. We're going to be competing for over $8 million in prizes, a Lambo, a Rolex, and it's free to join. Like I said, you can come join the squad. The link is in the description down below, and it's going to be based off a whole variety of different factors, team profit and loss, but also individual giveaways and all sorts of cool stuff. So if you are interested in putting your skills to the test, it's not too late to register. Use the link in the description down below. Join my squad and we will be competing for those prizes. Okay, so let's start out by looking at just the monthly returns and the quarterly returns. So for the quarterly, we are at minus 4.28 so far for Q3. But obviously, this only gets decided at the end of September. So we still have 2 months to go to get a final outcome on that one. For the Bitcoin monthly returns, you can see July closed at negative 4.02%. So that was a small red month, nothing too crazy at all. You can see actually before this year, the last 3 years were actually pretty positive in July. So it was a pretty flat month for us, a lot of chop, actually very boring for those wanting to trade with leverage because we were stuck in a range. And obviously, if you know the rules of the range, it is very possible to trade that, but a lot of people got chopped up if they didn't know how to trade those ranges. Now we are in the month of August, and as you can see, August and September, they tend to be more red than green, specifically September. August, you can see it's a bit of a mixed bag, but in general, red. So I think we could expect a pretty boring August and September ahead, just based on the seasonality and the historic data. I'm not looking for anything too crazy, no major crashes or pullbacks in my opinion, but we could chop around and we could just really hang around here a little bit more. So let's dive into the charts and see if that reveals anything for what could lie ahead this month. So we're looking at the monthly chart here for Bitcoin. We're at $29,156 per Bitcoin at this point in time. And this is just basically what the chart looks like. So before I give you this month's prediction and my thoughts on the chart, let's look at what I said on July 1st and if anything happened there. Now for the downside, is it possible we retest this 50 MA again? Yes, at 26,000. Maybe there's some sort of FUD or flash or whatever, flash crash, that it could retest that. That is a possibility, but it doesn't have to happen. So if we do get some sort of crash and retest that 50 MA, I would be looking at, again, potentially longing that somewhere around 26,000 if we get that opportunity, but it could also just continue straight higher and maybe hit 35,000 in the month of July or July and August. So you can see we had a nice month of June where we had that green candle, and July was just like I showed you, a pretty choppy, boring month, being down by a negative 4%, and you can see it's a small red candle. So we are kind of like just chopping around here that we have been doing for the last several months. Now, I think what I said last month, the analysis still applies. So what is important here, the 50 simple moving average in blue, as long as we're above that, trend is bullish, and we could simply retest that. So at this point in time, that is around 26.2. It is still possible that if you see this as just a single candle, that we can still just pull back here to 26.2 this month, and then hopefully bounce back, have that hold as support, and then still continue the trend higher. So as long as this trend stays above key levels, which is for me the moving averages, this one, the 50 simple moving average on monthly, but also we're looking at the weekly and the 3-day chart specifically. So, somewhere between 26 and 27,000, we want those levels to hold. If it retests that and bounces, it is great, and I do still think there is continuation of the trend with higher targets of 32.4, then 35,000, and then potentially as high as 48,000 if this trend really kicks off, and maybe we will still see that later in this year. That remains to be seen. But for me, if then, as long as we stay above these key moving averages, the trend is bullish, and then I'm looking for continuation. Now, Ethereum, let's take a look at the monthly candle there. Ethereum is trading at $1,837 at this point in time. And you can see we're in a similar situation. As long as the price stays above the 50 moving average here on monthly, I'm still bullish, and it's just a matter of being patient. But at this point in time, this MA is sitting at $1,540. So there is still room for a decent amount of downside. If we're looking at 1,800, we're looking at a drop here. You can obviously see that potentially 15% drop if we retest that, which would be a little bit scary in the short term, obviously, but that is something to set an alert and keep your eye on that level. If it does drop there, it might actually give you a really good opportunity to buy that dip with spot, but maybe potentially even with leverage. And obviously, if that happens throughout the month, I will update you here on the channel. So make sure you subscribe down below if you haven't done so to be able to get those updates. So overall, like I said, the month of August, maybe even the month of September, we can expect a bit of chop, a bit of shakeout, maybe a bit more pullback. That is a possibility, and it's probably more likely just based on the historic data and how the charts are kind of looking at this point in time. That does line up that we might see something like that, but at the same time, the trend is still bullish in my opinion until we get that invalidation, and that means that the potential upside targets are still a lot higher. So we may get the pullback, but maybe we still don't, and maybe we just continue higher too. Keep in mind, there is a lot of people who are fearful at this point in time, who are bearish on the markets, and who are expecting it to go down. They're even betting on it to go down. They're sidelined, they're shorting, and that can put create a position where there's too many people who are betting on the downside, and we squeeze higher, and all those people get liquidated or forced to cover their shorts, or even are sitting on the sidelines and have to FOMO back in, which accelerates the push higher. So I think just in terms of a point of view for August and September, expect just boring, flat, choppy sideways, maybe a bit of a correction. On the positive side, if we get pleasantly surprised, we can look at continuation. That is a possibility, but just be prepared for 2 more months of, say, boring sideways action, in my opinion, before continuation of that trend, unless, of course, we do get invalidation of this bullish trend, which, like I said, is Bitcoin getting below the 3-day 50 moving average or below the 50-week moving average. If that happens, obviously I'll update a new video and I'll share my thoughts on that then. For now, that is not too important. And don't forget, if you want to trade the Bybit WSOT, join my squad. We are going to be competing for $8 million in prizes. It starts on August 7th, so there's still time to register. The link is in the description down below.